guys, well here we are, we're back at it again. On the way to the ramp this morning I was watching the sun come up, and I was just thinking about how lucky I am, how blessed I am. My family and for being able to do the things that I love and the things that I enjoy. We're just going to do a little bit of fun fishing today. I'm out here on the lake, and the temperatures have been pretty high this week, and the water temperatures are coming up, and I'm really hoping to get on a little bit of a top water bite or a frog bite. If you look out at the shoreline on this lake, you can see there's a lot of vegetation that's starting to come up. The fish are busting. So I think what we'll do today is, just going to try to do the things that I enjoy, the things that I like, and I think we'll weigh our best 5. So we'll see what happens, and I'll catch you out there. Feel that big. Oh, maybe it is. Oh, I think it's a big one. Yeah, that's a good one. Holy cow. Oh my God. That's a monster on the wacky rig. That is a big fish. Holy smokes. Oh, that thing is incredible. Oh man, look at the size of that thing. That's a fish. Whew. All right, I said we tried to weigh our best 5 today. We'll see what this guy goes. He's got to be at least 5. That's a 5.4. Thank you, sir. That's a good way to start the day right there. Oh, look at the size of that fish. Oh, he's beautiful. Man, what a beautiful fish. I'm gonna pitch back under this dock and see if he's got any friends. That was a huge fish underneath this dock. That's might be the biggest fish that I've caught all year. It's a 20.5, 5 pounds, 4 ounces. Man, that's a heck of a way to start the day. But we're not gonna weigh him. Little fella. Oops. Sorry, buddy. Well, they are biting the wacky rig today, I will say that. To throw a jig, you can throw a Texas rig, but it kind of seems to, you know, it gets hung up a lot. Look at this thing. Beautiful blue heron. That's the reason that I like coming to this place. It's just there's so much wildlife, there's so many birds. The fish in this lake are very healthy. But you do battle with the vegetation. You get in less than, you know, 10 feet and it's choked right now. What the heck? That's a first. Got a chatterbait on a bluegill. Look at that. I've never caught a chatterbait on a bluegill before. As soon as I threw that out there, he bit. Oh my God, that's a monster. Oh, is he still on? Oh. 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 I don't even know if he's still on. Oh God, he came off. Oh God, no. Oh, he crushed me and got me in the weeds. Oh no. Oh man, that hurts. That hurts. I think that what happened was I had the trolling motor on low and I'm just trying to, you know, run on the outside of the weed line here, and he blew up and I got a good hook set on him, but he knocked some slack in the line. The motor's pushing me forward. I'm trying to pull him towards me and it did not work out. Oh gosh. You know, one frog blow up and now I'm gonna chase that bite the rest of the day because it's so much fun. But I feel like these fish are biting other baits, but that fish that we missed seemed like it was massive. Said we were gonna wear our best 5. This is a pretty small fish, so hopefully we're gonna have to cull this guy. 13 ounces. But that fish, that's why I feel like we're missing fish throwing that frog. I mean, I think there's probably a lot of fish that are set up right along the edge of these lily pads that are eating bluegill and stuff like that, and you know, the frog probably would get the bigger bite though, but I'm gonna keep pitching this around and see what happens. It's another little one. I'm not even gonna weigh this guy. He's smaller than the last one. another little fella. I know I said we were going to weigh our best 5. I just don't want to weigh these little dinks. I'm really hoping for some bigger stuff. We're catching fish. It's just not the size that we were hoping for. I mean, I guess that maybe we should start weighing these because we're struggling to put some bigger fish in the boat right now. All right, that's a 12 ouncer. You know, the one thing that I will say about this Newport is the big benefit over this versus a motor guide or one of the Minn Kota trolling motors that you'd put on the front of the kayak is this thing is pretty weedless. You know, I can cut through a lot of this stuff without an issue, and then, you know, eventually there will be some weeds that get caught up in the prop, like what just happened there, but for the most part, you just pull the motor. If you pull the motor out of the water, turn it on, the weeds clear themselves and you're back in business, and it's much easier and more efficient for cutting through grass if you fish a fishery that's got a lot of grass versus the motor guide. I have the motor guide for a pontoon boat that I have, and it does okay, but it's not good for cutting through weeds. I mean, that's not what it's built for. It gets clogged up pretty easily, and then you've got to pull the motor up, and it's a little bit of it's more of a process. It's more time consuming. It's not as user friendly when it comes to cutting through vegetation as this Newport is. So we're going to try a couple other spots and see if we can figure out, you know, what's going on. I was hoping that frog bite was going to work out, but it doesn't seem like maybe that's the case today. It's perfect weather for a frog. It's a perfect weather for top water. I don't know if these fish are really concentrated under the pads right now because it's not sunny out, but just going to keep plugging along and see if we can run into a couple bigger ones. I caught that one on live scope. He's got some nasty growth on the side of his face. Just, I don't know what that is, but that looks kind of nasty. So I was pitching, I could see fish down there. I pitched a Senko rig and he followed it down to the bottom, and I think I hopped it twice. I could see a bunch of fish suspended in about 15 feet of water. He's right there in the middle of the water column. All right, it's a 114. I was listening to a seminar, Bass U, that was being given by Drew Gill. He's known for fishing these Senko rigs a lot, but that's one of the big bite baits, Senko worms with a nose weight, and it falls relatively fast. There's a ton of fish. Oh, live scope is one of those things that I really need to put the time in to figure out how to use, because it's such a good tool, and most of the time I use it just to find cover for structure in the water, and I don't really know how to use it to get fish to bite, but I've got to put the time in and practice it with it some more. 14 ounces. All right, well, we'll see if we can replicate that. I mean, if they're gonna bite a drop shot, they're gonna bite a drop shot. The sun is coming out, and I was thinking that would push these fish up underneath these pads, but that doesn't seem to be the case just yet. I did try throwing a frog over here a few minutes ago, and it wasn't working out. It's a big worm tied on here. I just caught a 2-2. It was pretty nasty. It had some kind of disease or something on its lip. I tied this worm on, and we're fishing along a drop shot, and I can watch the fish follow this thing down along the lily pads with kind of a steep drop off. It goes down to about 20 feet where the lily pads end. And the fish that, 99% of the fish seem like they're following this thing down to the bottom, but they're not committing, and we just had... Oh, there's one! Oh! That's a good one. Alright, so 3-7. Put them on the board and see if that'll help us with our Adirondack 5. I don't know if it's going to help us. It's probably a 19. 18. Thanks for playing, buddy. And show. Oh man, if we figured something out with this old monster, this is going to be fun. I think my PB bass came off this bait. Oh. Alright, there's a 111. This is getting fun. That's what we're using. Let's see if we can get back in there. that fish. He definitely was not hooked well enough to boat flip, and it's a pretty big fish. We shouldn't be boat flipping. So probably a 3-pounder. $2.11. Angry fella. All right, guys. Well, that'll do it for today. I had a lot of fun out there. You know, it was a little bit of a struggle at first, but towards the end, we got on a really good bite using that Zoom Old Monster worm. Kicked it old school. That was a lot of fun. I love fishing a big worm in the summertime. That's a big bite getter, and it took us a little bit to get onto that pattern, but once that started working, we were fishing along a little bit of a ledge, pitching that worm around, and we were getting bit pretty regularly. I did miss a bunch of fish. You really got to set the hook hard when you're fishing that kind of a technique, just to penetrate through the plastic. Sometimes the worm can get all balled up inside the fish's mouth, and you really got to hammer them to get that hook and drive it home. Finished with 14 pounds and 1 ounce today. Not bad for New York State, and fishing from a kayak. So that was anchored by a 5-pound 4-ounce fish that we got to start the day. That seems to be a little bit of a theme this year. We're catching big fish in the morning, it seems like, but that was just that one was just on a little Senko that I was pitching around. Had a lot of fun today. Glad that you guys came with me, and I'll catch you on the next one.